Welcome to Penny for Your Shots, conversations and cocktails with brilliant women. I'm your host, Penny Fitzgerald, and I believe the best stories are the ones shared over a glass of wine or a cocktail. Each week, I sit down with women who've said yes to building something meaningful, often after years of putting everyone else first. We talk business, big dreams, and the mess in between. And of course, a few favorite drinks. So grab a glass, get comfy, and let's pour ourselves into Penny for Your Shots. This week's guest is Danielle Frank, and oh my gosh, you're going to love this conversation, especially if you believe bubbles are not just for celebrations. You're my people, so of course you know that bubbles are for any time. Danielle started her career in Hollywood, in publicity, before making a major pivot into the world of wine and spirits, where she spent more than 2 decades representing some truly iconic brands. She's also the author of A Wine Lover's Guide to Parenting, which is every bit as clever and playful as it sounds. In this conversation, we talk about trusting your gut, walking away from paths that no longer fit, finding joy in the unexpected, and why it's never too late to try something new. To write the book, take the trip, or become your own hype woman. So grab a glass of something bubbly. Here is Danielle Frank. Hi, Danielle. It's great to meet you.
You as well. Thanks for having me on. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're very much aligned. So tell us a little bit about you. Give us your name, where you're from, what you do, and what lights you up.
My name is Danielle Frank. I am somebody who has lived a life of many paths and journeys and pivots. After launching my career in Hollywood publicity at Miramax Films, I decided to trade red carpets for red wine, and I made the leap into the luxury world of wine and spirits, where I've spent more than 2 decades. So spoiler alert, I'm over 21. So I've been working, I was at Bacardi USA for 10 years. And now I'm at Moet Hennessy. I've been there and celebrating this month 12 years, representing such iconic luxury brands as Dom Perignon, Veuve Clicquot, Moet and Chandon, Belvedere. And I'm somebody who's a firm believer that life's most rewarding opportunities often come from the unexpected turns. I've had many pivots in my life, from moving from New York to LA, giving up that Hollywood job to go into wine and spirits, and then breaking off an engagement as well. So I really
Wow.
love talking to podcasts and guests really about embracing life pivots and how it can lead you onto a path that maybe you were
Mm.
meant to be on all along. And one of those paths that I took was at the end of last year, I finally released a book that I had been working on, that I wrote 14 years ago, called A
Oh,
Wine
wow.
Lover's Guide to Parenting, which is a humorous take. It's written like a children's book. It rhymes, but it's clearly made for adults, as it parallels raising your kids all to wine terminology.
I love it. That's so fun. Well, first of all, congratulations on being in a really super fun industry and for working for amazing brands. And gosh, you're in the bubble world, which is my favorite.
Yes, everybody should enjoy bubbles every day. It's not
Right?
just for celebration. Bubbles are meant to
Exactly.
be enjoyed with everything.
I love that. So how did you make that pivot? How did you go from Hollywood to wine and spirits?
So as I said, in my 20s, look, it was great. I'm from New York. I was living in New York City, working for Miramax
Mm.
Films, and when it was at its heyday, and doing international PR, so traveling to the Cannes Film Festival, Venice Film Festival,
Oh, wow.
living the life. But I just, I was traveling to LA a lot, and I just always had this itch to move to LA. And once I got it in my head, all my friends in New York, it's, a very East Coast thing too, or, certain parts of where you grow up. It's the idea that, oh, it's, you're nearing 30, have to be married by this age, have kids at
Oh,
this age.
geez.
So a lot of my friends were, starting to get married and go down that path. And I was dating somebody and I thought I was there. And then I sort of just had this like, I was like traveling the world with Miramax. I was like, wait, I'm not done with this yet. I'm not ready to be a mom yet. There's a lot I still want to do
Mm-hmm.
before I get
Mm-hmm.
married, before I have kids. And one of those was moving to LA. So, I had it in my head I was moving, and I just I I broke off with my boyfriend, and set my path forward. At the time, there were no studio jobs. And one of the PR agencies that represented the talent, they were looking for somebody. And I kind of just knew in my head, I'm like, oh, I really don't want to be a personal publicist. No disrespect to those that do it. I just didn't think that was my journey in the entertainment world. But they hired me, got me to LA. And on day one, this agency that I worked for, unfortunately, was a very toxic environment. Day one, I
Mm.
walked in and like three of the publicists were in their office crying. And I was
Oh
like,
God.
what did I get myself into? I know.
Hmm.
And, I was there 3 months, and it wasn't for me. And like I said, it was a very toxic environment. I mean, there were days, look, when I was in Miramax, over 6 years, there wasn't, of course, in my 20s, maybe I went out the night before. There were certainly days that I was like, oh, don't want to go to work. But there was never those days like, oh, I don't want to go to work. I have that pit in my stomach of
Mm.
anxiety.
Yeah.
But when I was working at this PR agency, I had many mornings like that. And I was like, that's no way to live. Like, we spend most of our time, half of our lives at work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it shouldn't be that way. And so I quit without having another job, which is very unlike me. I'm very type A, but I just had that feeling like I don't want this pit in my stomach, this ulcer-inducing anxiety. And I quit, and I just, I'm sure some of that comes with naivety, right? It was like my late 20s, and oh, I'll find something. And, I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't even have a pet at that time that relied on me. So, I was like, I'll just figure it out. And my sister worked for an agency that worked for Bacardi on the East
Mm.
Coast, and she loved it. And she said they were hiring, and it was a big step back. It was a very elementary job, or entry level job, big cut, a big step back pay wise. But I was like, oh, you work from home, you get a car allowance, expense back. Great, this sounds great until I figure out what it is I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, 10 years later, I worked
I
my way up
love
to
it.
Bacardi. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as you say, it's a fabulous industry. It really is. And when you
Mm-hmm.
get to represent amazing brands, shepherd these brands that have such history, that evoke,
Mm.
such emotions and feelings and excitement out of people, it's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you mentioned naivety or being naive through quitting your job without having something else. Is that what it was, or was it intuition? Because something always, a bad circumstance or our gut, it just tells us, it leads us towards something bigger and better. We may not know what that is yet, but so many of us stay in those toxic corporate roles and just wither into nothing.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. It's intuition. It's also confidence in yourself, right? Like
Mm, mm-hmm.
I broke off with my boy. I broke it up with my boyfriend when everyone was getting married because I knew I didn't want to go that traditional path. I picked up and moved from New York to LA. So all these things are starting to, build up your armory of, like, your arsenal of, your belief in yourself and your confidence. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, some of it may be a little naivety, but also a lot of confidence and belief that I stepped off many paths before. I always say I don't believe
Mm-hmm.
that there's one yellow brick
Right.
road to Oz. There's lots of paths along the way.
Yep.
And, each time you step off one path and you get on another, and you embrace it and propel yourself forward, and you see that maybe that was the path you were meant to be on, it gives you the confidence to keep going at it, to keep knowing that you can find your new path every time you step off one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and knowing what your body was telling you, your body was showing you the signs that this is stressful, this is not right, and
Yeah.
you took that leap. That's amazing, and congratulations for doing that, for listening to
Oh,
that still
thank
small
you.
voice.
Yeah, I mean, you have to realize that confidence doesn't come from falling. or what you feel is failing, but I call it
Mm-hmm.
falling. It comes from knowing you can stand back up and go again, propel
Mm-hmm.
yourself forward.
Yeah. And what you make of it. It's just, it may not be the path that you expected or that you hope for, but somewhere along the line, things start to fall into place. And that confidence and that knowing comes from taking that step.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the important thing is about taking the lesson forward, right? Taking what you learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, instead of getting lost in the messy middle of, oh, what didn't happen, it's looking at, okay, what's going to happen now? What's the excitement? What's the story I'm going to build on this next path?
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you doing now? Are you touring a lot? Are you going on a lot of
So I
trips?
Yeah, so I work, I still have my day job with Moet Hennessy. They pay the bills. So that's priority number one, and it's a great priority. As I said, I'm celebrating 12 years with them. I hope to retire with them. It's a fantastic company with
Nice.
amazing brands. But I do get to travel a lot with work. My clients, my customers are national based, so a lot of travel. And then yeah, on the side, I'm promoting, my book and doing this big PR push by myself, which has just been so fun. I mean, especially I've been doing the podcast circuit, which I love. I love as a listener, I love listening to podcasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instagram is just a static post of everything so great. It's like the podcast, it's just real organic conversations, hearing about people's paths, hearing about their journeys, hearing about the messy middle and how they got through it. And so I love that. So I'm promoting the book, trying to get it out there, having fun with
Mm-hmm.
it. That's a second job in itself, trying to
Oh,
get your
for
project
sure.
out there. But it's fun when it's something that you've invested your heart and soul into.
Right. Right. It's your baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I've interviewed some other authors too, and hands down, everyone says the same thing that writing the book was the easy part. It's the marketing
Yeah.
of it that is the tough part. And it's so, so time consuming, takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I don't have a big publishing house behind me. I'm doing this on my own, all the hustle. So it's a lot, it'd be great if I had if any publishers are out there, my next iteration of the book is not published yet. So it's for the taking, but yeah, it's a lot of work. But like I said, when it's your baby, it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you come to the idea of your book?
So, a lot of pieces of the puzzle came together. So, A Wine Lover's Guide to Parenting, The Fine Art of Wine, WINE, and Wine, WHINE Management. I'm actually not a mom, funny enough. But this all came about because, like I said, lots of pieces of the puzzle came together about 14 years ago. I was a bonus mom for many years to my ex-fiance's kids. I'm very engaged with my niece and nephew's lives, and I'm also Aunt Danielle to many, many friends' kids. So, I've always had that nurturing side of me. And my fiance, I realized he ultimately didn't want more kids. So I broke off the engagement because it was something that I really wanted for my future. But when I broke it off, I realized, just because the path to motherhood might not happen for me, doesn't mean the nurturing goes away. And I still want a seat at the table to how kids are raised, kids, there's a lot of uh there's a lot of bullying and hate and
Mm-hmm.
um there's a lot of things that need to be course corrected,
Mm-hmm.
in kids' lives. And I always just felt like getting to kids at a young age. I mean, I started working on a actual children's book series trying to teach kids like we're all the same and um trying to teach kids about not to discriminate and all that. But this idea came with, as I said, I broke off my engagement. I was watching my niece at the time, and although they were great kids, they're adults now, but they were kids at the time. Although they were great kids, of course every kid has the propensity to whine, and they were whining about something, and I said, Aunt Danielle drinks wine. She doesn't listen to wine. And the idea just all came together, right? As somebody, one
Uh-huh.
who works in the wine industry, I love, I just sort of saw the fun parallels like that. That just came like an aha
Mm-hmm.
moment. Also as, an auntie unofficial and official. Like I get the best seat in the house. I get to witness the tantrum, the chaos, the triumphs, but with a different perspective. Sometimes I always say that, I've heard parents trade war stories like battle-hardened soldiers. And sometimes when you're in the trenches, it's not as
Yeah.
easy to see what's right in front of you. It's not as easy to see, to have a little light and humor in it. So I just, I wanted to create this fun, light way for, parents to have a little light and levity and just, but they're poignant lessons. And I always say you don't need to be a parent to know good behavior in human beings, right? Like you want to
Mhm.
teach your kids good manners and not to bully and all that. So
Mhm.
like I said, I still wanted a seat at the table to how kids were raised well. And
Yeah.
then also somebody who works in the wine industry, I just love the idea of making wine
Yeah.
knowledge easy, fun, accessible. So every time I use a wine definition, wine term, I give the definition. I give a basic understanding of how wine is made. So,
Oh, nice.
it really educates the reader on wine as well. So it's really
I
fun and
love it.
approachable.
That's great. You know, speaking as someone who also has not given birth physically, but as women, we are nurturers. We are here, we support other people, we lift other people up. I have bonus, well, they're men now. They were boys for many years. But
Yeah,
we all have that in us. I feel like women are mothers no matter if they were from our body or not.
yeah.
So I fully believe that you have all the credentials to, to be a parent.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just like I said, I call it also like a outsider's insider. I may be the outsider, but I have an inside, a vested interest to how these kids are
Yes,
shaped
we
and
all
to
do.
what they
Yes,
become. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, we want to make the world a better place, and that starts with our children and how we raise them and how we nurture them and support them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you said you have a chapter from your book that you
Yeah, I'd love
might
to share chapters so your
read to
readers can
us.
get an idea of what it. So it's a wine lover's guide
Oh,
to
so cute.
parenting. So as I said, it's written like a children's book. It's illustrated.
Uh-huh.
It rhymes, but it's not made for kids. So I'll read
This is
lesson
cute.
3 is you don't want your kids to ferment. In the
Okay.
winemaking process, fermentation is when you convert sugar into alcohol. So obviously we think of something sugar as sweet. Alcohol, we think of as harsh or biting. So this is about you don't want your kids to turn from someone sweet into someone harsh and biting because they don't have manners. Manners, manners, manners are the key to it all. These lessons need to start even when they're small. Teach them this from day one before they start to crawl. You don't want your kid to be the sour grape in the bunch and turn into a spoiled brat that kids want to punch. When they start talking, make sure they know thank you and please, and to always say bless you when they hear someone sneeze. Please and thank you are an absolute must. Without that, your child's a total bust. There's nothing worse than a child who has behavior that is crude, because it'll continue as they're older and become someone who's rude. People don't take kindly to and aren't nice to those with attitude, because it's very off-putting and puts others in a bad mood, oftentimes causing confrontation and leads to a nasty feud. Wanting to put a little bit of poison in your child's food. Is that really how you want your kids to be viewed? Wouldn't you prefer that there's someone who's wooed? Without manners, they'll ferment and turn into someone harsh and biting. They may turn into a kid who's rude, obnoxious, and always fighting. So teach your kids some manners and to have some heart and soul. Without that, your kid may well turn into an a-hole.
Cute.
It
That must have been fun to write.
was a lot of fun. Yeah, it just kind of all like came out. Obviously I was thinking of wine terminology and things that people would want to know. Also, I was thinking of words that rhyme easily, right? You won't see a rhyme in there for oneology because not many things can rhyme with that, but just approachable everyday wine terms, some unique terms as well that people might not know and just what the definitions are. And yeah, I think there's a lot of fun parallels between wine and human behavior.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good study. And even, the process of tasting wine, of wine tasting itself, going through the steps to tasting wine, how you engage all of your senses, how your
present through all of it, that's really a good analogy for being present with another person, for really listening to them, getting to know them, and engaging all of your senses when you're getting to know someone, and just being really present for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a chapter in there like a fine wine, you need to let it breathe, right? Just letting it
Mm.
breathe, letting it you know, find its
Reveal
way.
itself.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't rush the process either.
You can't. You can't rush the process. You can't rush, raising your kids. It takes, you've got 18 years before hopefully you send them off to college, but they're always ever evolving, and especially in their formative years. So it takes time. It takes time to open up
Hmm.
and marinate.
For sure. Yeah, it's for your bouquet to arrive and
Yeah,
blossom.
exactly.
How many wine terms can we fit in, right? Love it. So, what's your favorite part of, either your day job or your writing? What do you love the most?
Oh, my favorite part. I mean, you know, I have so many favorite things about both. I mean, my favorite thing about my day job is, like I said, with Moet Hennessy, the brands I represent, these all these brands have such amazing history, and
Hmm.
they're also different, right? And getting to share, the differences and the history. Like Veuve Clicquot, that's one of the brands I represent, and the story behind it is just spectacular. And it's fascinating. Madame Clicquot was essentially the first female entrepreneur, and I love sharing the romanticism of the brands. There's so much history and there's so much depth to it. So I love that. I love, I'm customer facing, so I get to work with clients. I call on, like, I deal with all the national resorts at the headquarter level. So I'm just a relationship person. So I love having that interaction with my customers and trying to find solutions for their needs with our portfolio and
Hmm.
ideas. So, the creativity of it. And I think, with my writing, that's my favorite part too, is the creativity of it. I have so many different ideas and so many different writing projects that I'm working
Hmm.
on at any given moment, because, like, inspiration strikes and I just have to get it down. So yeah, I have I won't say a warped mind, but I always get like a lot of random ideas, and I just,
Hmm.
want to share it with the world. So writing
Nice.
is just a fun outlet for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, would you mind sharing a little bit more about the Madame Clicquot uh,
Oh my
story?
God, I love geeking out about it. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
she took over her husband, he passed away and she was 27. And
And this was
back
when, remind my listeners. A lot of my listeners are wine lovers and really excited to hear about women in different industries. So this would be really great to
Oh
tell them
yeah, I
about.
mean, yeah, this was in the 1800s, but yeah, she was 27 years old,
Mm.
and
Wow.
after her husband died, and she, back then it was just unheard of for a woman to take the helm of a winery, of a champagne house. But she said to her father-in-law, like, she wants to do it, and she really revolutionized the whole industry. I mean, champagne used to be very cloudy. She created the riddling rack, which is
Mm.
it's a table where you constantly turn the bottle. It's still used today by many, many wineries, champagne houses, is the riddling rack. So that takes the sediment out of the wine. She created the first blended rosé. So you can thank Madame
Mm.
Clicquot for creating rosé champagne. She created the first vintage champagne.
Mm.
And she was just revolutionary also, like, with the trade wars, how you weren't allowed to sell, to Russia and outside France. She would, she had a partner, and he would, um, they created. She would write letters. It was a whole, like, letter writing campaign, and she would write letters as if she was writing friends, and that's how she conducted her business during the trade
Mm.
wars.
What a
Yeah, it's
great example that is, right? Because it's for women, it's all about building relationships and supporting other people in a very collaborative way.
Yeah, yeah, and and especially like in the earliest 19th century when the
Mm,
Napoleonic Code denied women civil political rights, prohibiting them from
mhm.
working, voting, earning money, and she really took the ball and ran with it. If you want a great book, um, when I read this, I was not even a voracious reader as much as I am now, and I could not put this book down. It's by Talar Mazzeo called I
Okay.
think it's called, I have a copy. It's called The Widow Cliquot. It's
Yes.
it's what the movie was based on Talar's book. I do not recommend the movie at all. I couldn't get
Really?
through it. It took a lot of creative license. I didn't like it. Sorry
Um,
to the filmmakers and whoever put that out, but the book is fantastic. Yeah, so I highly recommend reading it. And yeah, so I'm very fortunate that I get to go to Champagne. And my
mm,
favorite part is when I take customers, I always, it's not open to the public, but because I work there, I always ask them to build this into the program. We go to the archives house, which is my favorite part of the trip. They have
wow.
they pretty much have everything from Madame Clicquot cataloged. And so her letter
Mm,
writing, especially back then, you didn't have a copier that you can copy your letters and
right.
put a copy in your, or you didn't have it on your computer. So every time she wrote a correspondence, she wrote a second one so that she had a
Oh,
copy of it. And this went back and forth,
brilliant.
back and forth. And we have every copy of every letter.
Oh
We
my
have all of her
gosh.
ledgers. Yeah, it's wild. It's so fascinating.
That
Yeah,
is fantastic.
yeah, it's truly
Wow.
amazing.
Okay. I don't know if you know this or not, Danielle, but I do a yearly trip for women called Wine Camp.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and we visit different wine regions. And so far, we've only been in the United States. So, wine regions that are not ones that a lot of people have been to yet. So, just kind of introducing women to new regions and new grapes, new ways of doing things. And many of the winemakers that we visit, when many of the wineries are women owned or women run or women winemakers. So, just to hear this story is really fantastic. And I don't know if we'll ever get to France as a group, but that would be super fun.
I love this wine trip. I need to know when the next one is.
Well, it's coming right up. It's July 30th through August 2nd this year,
Oh,
and
wow,
we're
fun. Where are you guys going?
the Finger Lakes region of New
Oh,
York
very
this year.
nice.
So yeah, we were in Virginia last year and Texas Hill Country the year before that. So just, new and up and coming wine regions and kind of discovering what's happening and how things have improved since the beginning and all of that. So it's been an amazing way to lift other
Yeah,
women in the wine industry.
that is amazing. I love that.
Yeah. So you work now predominantly with, um, who are your customers? Are you serving restaurants?
I call on national hotel groups at the corporate level. So Marriott,
Okay.
International, Four Seasons, Hyatt, Hilton, all the big hotel resort groups
Nice. Okay.
the national level. Yeah.
And you get to take them to to
We
Rim.
we yeah, we do some so that I'll be going on a trip end of September with some key customers as well. So
Oh,
it's exciting to be able to
that's
share the history and
fantastic.
the story and see it live with my
Yeah.
customers. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, what other fun stories do you have from either your book writing or your your time with your brands? It just sounds fascinating, all of it.
Oh God, where do I start? Yeah, it's just, it's amazing. Like I said, like to represent brands that have like I've been in like, the Highlands of Scotland with our
Mm,
Scotch and cognac with Hennessy.
nice.
I'm very fortunate. I know that much
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, it's always an adventure trying to see the next new place and think of the next new idea for books. My next iteration of
Hmm.
my book of this book is a whiskey lover's guide to dog breeds. So,
Oh,
um,
fun.
yes, so that'll be structured a little differently, but that's what I'm working on next, and I'm
Okay. You've
almost
got
done
my
with it.
wheels
I
turning.
Yeah, this is yeah. So again, any publishers out there, it's available to be published.
Okay. Well, I did interview a publisher and I will get you guys connected.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. That'd be
yeah.
great.
For sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how much she's doing these days because she is working on transitioning to retirement.
Mm.
So good
Oh,
for
good
her.
for her.
Yeah, yeah. So, but she has, of course, lots of knowledge on it and would love to
Oh,
connect you.
that would be great. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So you've got my wheels turning too, because another thing I love to do is create cocktails, and I have a
Yes,
monthly group called it's a sipper club.
I love that.
So I create a recipe every month for my sippers, and we get together and just get to know each other over Zoom for like a happy hour once a month, and it's just been super fun. Do you, with your brands, do you do something similar, or do you have people who create cocktails, or are you mainly on the sales side of it and working with your clients?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the sales side. It's like a hybrid of sales and marketing. We're curating like,
Mm-hmm.
marketing platforms that align with our strategies that are in line with the customer's needs. We do have like a national mixologist, but he's
Mm,
for like
fun.
the company, and yeah, it's like, when they need help. But a lot of times, like I know my hotels have so many of their in-house mixologists, and
Mm,
but yeah, we have
so
somebody
fun.
that represents our brands to help with cocktail curation. It's a blast.
It is a
Yeah.
blast. Yeah, just
How,
creating a new cocktail is just
yeah.
fun and a little dangerous.
I love that. And I love like that, the coming up with the names is almost
Oh
just as
yeah.
fun as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And riffing on some, classic cocktails or just, updating them for, what's happening now and all of that. It's just fun.
Absolutely. We do a lot of riff on cocktail because like, we own Hennessy, of course, and cognac was really like the originator in so many classic cocktails, but people are not as
Hmm.
familiar with it. So we really try and highlight that. Like, nobody realizes like Hennessy makes a great margarita.
Oh.
So yeah, we call it the Henny Rita. Yeah, so really trying to showcase brands and different cocktails, different drinks, because there's so much depth to cognac, for example. I mean, I love
Mm-hmm.
vodka. We have Belvedere, it's great. But
I love
obviously,
Belvedere.
it's colorless, it's odorless, it's not like a gin, that has botanicals and different flavors, or cognac as
Hmm.
well. So it really brings a lot to a cocktail.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there are so many things you can do with all the different spirits. And I think the classic cocktails are really having a moment because nostalgia
Yeah.
is really, I don't know. It's weird to say nostalgia is in. It's a really, but
Absolutely. And
yeah, I
you know
feel like
what? They
people are
they
really
didn't
into it.
they didn't become classic for nothing. I mean, it's time,
Right.
year over year, it's just the taste profile and again, there's the romanticism, the story behind it. It's always,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always that element.
So for your book, how are your upcoming book? How are you fitting that in to such a, busy travel schedule, you're, busy in sales and marketing? How do you juggle all of that?
Huh. I'll tell you when I figure it out. No, I mean, um, that's been challenging. That's why like I have the framework of the next book, and the style of this, this book is, rhymes that it won't rhyme. It's I don't want to say it's, this concept's a little easier than like writing a novel, because I have a novel idea that I've had for like 8 years. It's just I wrote it as a short story that's just sitting there. Maybe I'll get to it at retirement or something. But
Someday.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to try and fit it in.
Mm-hmm.
But I try a little bit. Long plane rides are great when nobody's calling
Mm,
me and I'm not distracted. If
mm-hmm.
I've gotten all my work done, for work, then, maybe I'll spend a little time writing on the plane, but, it's hard. It's hard to balance it all.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for women especially, we wear so many hats and we're doing so many different things, and we have our passion project or maybe something that's tugging at us, something that we've wanted to do forever, and we just don't take that step because we let life get in the way or we put everybody else's
Yeah.
needs above our own, putting one foot in front of the other, and just that dream slowly dies for many of us, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, that's the key, right? Is just being your own
Yeah.
champion, hyping,
Yeah.
being your own hype woman, telling yourself that like, And that's kind of sort of the path I've been on, is like, I've just become someone who's been like, and that it started when, like I said, at my late 20s, when I was traveling so much for Miramax and seeing the world,
Mm,
and was faced with this, like, oh, I'm here, I'm with my boyfriend a couple of years, everyone's getting married. It's which fork in the road do I take? I was like, I'm not ready
mm,
for that path yet. There's so much still I want to do and
yeah.
go after it. And so that kind of put me on this journey of, you have one life to live. I want to do with
Mm-hmm.
it everything that I can, within reason, of course, and within legal
Mm-hmm.
limits. But like when I was a kid, I always loved game shows. So went on a game show a
Mm.
few years ago.
Oh,
Just like,
fun.
okay, check that off the list. Just
Yes.
really putting myself out there to, like, you don't know unless you try it and you do it and go
Yeah.
after it. Because as I said, we have one life to live, and I don't want to be on my deathbed being like, ah, I should have. And
No
that's what I did with this book
regrets.
too. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote this book 14 years ago, and I always got, great feedback on it. And I love this project, but it getting published is hard, and
Mm-hmm.
self-publishing was daunting to me. And when I heard about hybrid publishing, I finally, it's a financial commitment as well. So I finally, last year was like, if I don't do something with this, it's going to plague me on my deathbed. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
I just said, now's the time. Like, don't put it off
Mm-hmm.
any longer. Invest the time, invest the money, and get it out there for the world to see.
That's great. And it's never too late. It's never too late
Never.
to chase your dreams. It's never too late to just get curious about something and dip a toe in. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be an either
absolutely.
or. That fork in the road doesn't have to be this or that. It could be and.
Right.
You don't have to
Exactly.
choose. And most of us we don't know what we're capable of, and we don't
Yeah,
know what's going to work, what other people are going to like, what's going to support other people, what's going to support us. We don't know what the next step is until we take it. You've got to take that step to be able to figure out what comes after that and which path do I
exactly.
really want to take.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know that, any new path you go on, maybe that was the journey you were meant to be on all along. And if not,
Exactly.
then if not, you've tried, and, you can veer off to another path or another journey to get back, where you want to go.
Exactly. Yep, never too late.
Never too late.
Love it. Um, what have I not asked you that you would love to share with my people?
Wow, let's see. Yeah, I think it's not so much asking. I love just reiterating that, um, I found such joy in the unexpected, and it can be scary. It can certainly be scary, but I always want people to know that, you know, when you dive headfirst into something, rather than wallow in like what didn't happen, it can propel you forward, and just to go for it, and to, you know, believe in what you um believe in what you want to happen for yourself,
Hmm.
and heed the lessons from the past. I always talk about, also like all the life pivots I had, right? Like even the relationship pivot, breaking off my engagement.
Hmm.
It's, you know, I just look at it that, the relationship didn't fail, it finished its job. And I took
Mm.
information from that I use for future relationships. I took the things that I didn't like from that, and it helped clarify my values for future relationships as well. And that's what everything is in life, right? A lesson to heed us, for the next step and the next journey that we're
Hmm.
on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned earlier too, being your own hype girl. That's that's amazing. And if you can't be your own hype girl, then I bet you have a lot of friends who would love to be that role or play that role for as long as you want them to, you know?
Exactly. Find that person that's going to cheer you on the sidelines. And if
Yes.
somebody's not going to cheer you on, and they're going to inhibit you, then maybe that person is not your
Mm.
your
Yeah, I
champion.
can't even, I'm so fortunate. I have such amazing friends. I can't imagine someone not. And I know that there are strangers out there that are trolls on the internet that are gonna, just try and knock people down, but they're not doing the thing, right?
Right.
They're not the ones out there being visible and doing the thing that lights them up. So you've got to really just ignore that kind of crap.
Yeah, you really do, especially now more than ever, right? The people are such
Mm-hmm.
trolls, especially for people, that are happy and feeling empowered and put themselves out there. You know, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people out there that, whether it's jealousy or they don't want to see people succeed, they'll try and tear them down, but you gotta clear out the noise and just
Mm-hmm.
focus forward on yourself.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Can I change gears? I mean, we've been talking about
Of
cocktails and
course.
having fun all along, but what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite cocktail or favorite glass of wine or brand?
Oh, oh, God. Okay. Favorite cocktails is a lot easier.
Okay.
I love a Braveheart, a Gold Rush, a whiskey sour, anything like that. I love.
Mm.
Those are my
Okay.
favorite. I love a sidecar, talk about classic cocktail.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are my favorite. Wine is tough because it really goes by my mood, and like it's summer. Well, it's always summer in LA and California where I live. But you know, when it's nice out, I drink a lot of whites.
Mm-hmm.
I
Same.
love Sancerre. I love Chablis,
Mm.
Chenin Blanc.
Yes.
Really,
Oh.
really, yeah, drinking a lot of that. But I do love reds. You know, it depends what I'm eating too. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a steak, you know, a nice bold cab, but I love all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of reds. I really love, I'm into Volnay right now, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
Burgundy for the first time
Oh,
before my Champagne trip for work. I just booked myself a couple days by myself exploring through Burgundy. There's
I
um
love it.
you can rent an e-bike and just go from Beaune to Pommard to Volnay and Meursault. So I'm going to
Oh,
do that and just laze through the countryside. I'm
nice.
very excited. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so much work, 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 work. How will you
It's a
ever
lot of research. It's
survive?
a lot of
Yeah,
research, but I'm up for it. I'm up for the challenge.
exactly. Oh my gosh, I would, yeah, love that trip. That I've got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Uh,
Oh, sounds amazing. Loire Valley is definitely on my list as well. You mentioned some lovely wines from there. How do you feel about Cab Franc?
oh, I love Cab Franc. I mean, I'm an equal opportunist wine drinker, frankly. There's not really a wine. I'm not into the orange wines.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
not,
willing to try, but yeah, it's a little
yeah,
weird.
yeah, it's not my cup of tea or my cup of
Yeah.
wine. Yeah, I love a Cab Franc. I love a red blend. I love a GSM, Grenache,
Yes.
Syrah, Mourvedre combo.
Hmm.
I love it all.
Yes. I love a good Gamay too, a nice Beaujolais.
Oh, I just had a delicious one Friday night. You know, slightly chilled. I love
Mm,
Gamay. Yeah.
yes. This time of year, especially when it's, well, I'm in
Uh-huh.
Iowa, so it's just starting to warm up and it's been really nice. So, yeah, lovely.
Yeah, there's a place in Venice Beach that has the best burger. It's my favorite, one of my favorite restaurants in LA. It always gets written up for the vibe and the burger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a block from the beach. You're right there, and
Ah, nice.
they have great wines. And so my best friend and I had a nice chilled Gamay with that
Oh,
delicious burger. It's
oh, that sounds
perfect.
amazing.
Yeah, so not
Okay,
too
so
heavy of
for
a red. Yeah.
yeah, so for anyone listening who might be in the area or who would be visiting, what's the name of the restaurant? Do you remember the
Oh, it's
name of
called
it?
Dudley Market. It's
Okay.
fantastic. And it's like right around the corner from like the Strand where there's Venice
Oh,
Beach
yeah.
Club where you just afterwards, my friend and I would
Mm-hmm.
just watch the sunset, like you're right on the
Mm,
beach. Oh yeah, that whole area is
I
great. But
love
Dudley
it.
Market is fantastic.
Okay.
There's so many great restaurants here. I could spend an hour on
Yeah.
where to go in LA. People can if you put in any show notes, you can include my email address. I'm always happy to give people
I will.
recommendations.
Sounds good. I will definitely include your contact information and your book, how to get it,
Great.
and
Thank
the
you.
Widow Vouv and all of those in my show notes links too. So
Excellent.
what's a fun memory shared with girlfriends over a nice glass of something lovely?
Uh, I mean, memories that I've had with them, or just a memory that
Yeah,
I,
just
oh,
any fun memory. Yeah, with girlfriends, I would say something
yeah,
that's
I mean, like you said, like I'm very fortunate, to when I moved to LA, I have a network of friends. I actually have like a group of friends in Venice, Santa Monica, like, you know, we're all late 40s, early 50s. A couple people married, two with kids. But we're all just sort of, we went this sort of, quote unquote unconventional path. And so I think just the memories are, because I love to travel. And so
Mm.
I get to travel with, I try and do like smaller group travel. It's hard to travel with groups. So it's like a one-off, this one I did the south of France. My best friend, I did Spain in April. And so
Mm.
really
Nice.
just, reliving the memories of all the travel experiences we've had and lots of stories on those trips too. And yeah, it's tons of fun. But
Shared
yeah,
experiences with girlfriends. I don't think you can beat it.
no, you can't. And like eating your
Yeah.
and drinking your way through a country is
Oh,
how I love to see it. So
you're
yes.
my people.
Absolutely. That's why I want to come on that wine trip.
Yes, for sure. Well, yeah, if anyone's listening, that is just go to my website, pennyforyourshots.com/wine camp. So there's the information on it
Love
there.
that.
It's going to be amazing.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah, so fun. I love watching women get together and build new friendships and just solidify relationships and gosh, just have so much fun together and explore new explore new regions, explore new wines.
Yeah, I mean, you're never too old to like make new friends too. And that's what I say. Like
Ah,
I continue to
right.
meet people, through work or just around town and friends of friends come into the group and into the fold and it's never too late. Because it's almost like,
Yeah.
it's almost like relationships and marriage. That was also one of the reasons why I never thought about getting married young as well as because, and look, I love being in love. Hope to meet somebody
Mm-hmm.
someday, but I also realized at a young age that like, you know, and I'm not saying this for every relationship, but sometimes a lot of relationships, why they fail is because when people get married young, you don't know who you are. And it's very hard for
Yeah.
two people to grow at the exact same trajectory. We all, grow in different paths and people evolve, right? And sometimes you don't evolve in the same way. And that's why I think, I'll meet somebody when I'm older because I know who I am. Hopefully
Mm-hmm.
they know who they are. And you also know like what you will and won't put up with anymore. It's
Mm,
hard to know
right.
who you are and what you want truly out of a partner when you're in your 20s. What I put up with in my 20s is, I would never
Oh
put up with
yeah.
now. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
I yeah, totally agree. Yeah, that's our values were malleable, I feel like at the at that
Yes,
early stage of life. And yeah, I feel like women especially we're stronger as we age. We're more wise.
absolutely.
We're not we're not willing to tolerate not being treated well.
100%. Oh yeah, the crap I
Yeah,
put up with. Oh man, I shudder to think.
I
Just because
know.
the guy was cute and oh, he has a good job. It's
He
like,
means well.
yeah, the
Yeah.
parameters need to be a
Oh yeah.
lot more sharp and yeah, a lot more
Yeah.
strict.
I'm super fortunate to have met my husband at close to 40. We got
That's
married when I was
great.
40.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he to you yeah, finding someone who's your person and evolving with them and continuing to grow because we never stop growing, hopefully.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
evolving together. That's fun.
yeah.
When you find the right person.
When you find the right person, absolutely. And sometimes we
Yes.
don't find the right person, which happens.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just about, then don't get stuck in it. Like, again, that feeling
Yeah.
of you have one life to live. Like, do you want to? Because that's what I learned when I was with my fiance. I mean, him not wanting kids, look, that was a big piece, but there were other things as well. And there were moments in the relationship when I was like, I'm really unhappy. And that was the worst feeling in the world, feeling lonely and unhappy in a relationship. And that was the
Right.
biggest lesson I took from that. It's like, I never want that feeling of being lonely when I'm in a relationship. I
Oh my
never want to have
gosh.
that feeling again.
Right. Right. Being alone and content and growing is way better than being in the wrong relationship and not
Absolutely.
growing and not having respect for yourself or, you
Exactly.
know? Well, cheers to that.
And if I had a glass of wine, I'd
I
cheers
know
you.
it's early in the day, but yeah, we'll get to that wine later.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Danielle, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for this lovely conversation.
Oh, so fun. Thank you for having me on your fabulous podcast.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
All right. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of Penny for Your Shots. If you loved today's conversation, don't let the inspiration stop here. Get my weekly insider updates straight to your inbox. It's where I spill behind the scenes goodies, exclusive tips, and all the fun stuff I don't always share on the podcast. Sign up now at pennyforyourshots.com/insider. I'll see you in your inbox next Thirsty Thursday. Cheers!